afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Stock Market Today. It's Ali Corum and Ed Carson here with a breakdown of the action in today's session, where we saw a downside reversal in the market after a negative day on Monday to kick off the week. So second day of weakness here, Ed, but the usual suspects, or at least the groups that have been strong this year, are still showing some interesting names.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. There's some areas that have been doing pretty well, and they continue to do well. Shell and Devon Energy, as oil stocks continue to do well. And then we also had Raytheon Technologies flirting with a buy point.
Okay, well, we will analyze those stocks for you all, but first, let's break down the action in the major indexes today. So the NASDAQ finishing down 0.3%. Same for the Dow and the S&P 500. It looks like the Russell 2000 was able to manage a gain today of about 0.3%. But you can just see here a big visual representation of that weakness with the downside reversal. It looks like we were going to bounce a little bit after the gap down that we saw on Monday, but those gains did not hold, Ed.
Yeah, we had hot inflation data, but there was some reason to think that maybe inflation was peaking out. So we got a rally off of that, and then we faded for whatever reason. A Fed official came out and said, yeah, I really want to be really aggressive on rate hikes and balance sheet cuts, which really isn't a surprise, but it reminded everybody that we're going to see a lot of Fed action. An outside reversal day after a big sell-off Monday. We've been under pressure for a few days. It's getting to be more pressure. If you're not in the sectors that are working, then things are not going very well. It's that kind of market right now.
That's right. But we have been talking about taking profits into strength, at least partial profits, also trimming losers, making sure losses don't get out of hand. So hopefully investors are rolling with the punches here with the market and getting out of technology names, many of which did have some promising action in mid to late March with rallies, some stronger looking chip names, for example, but a lot of bottom fishing happening. But what is your sense of the fear out there or the bearishness out there at this point and what those might signal?
You know, the bearish signals haven't been that strong. Like the CBO volatility index really hasn't had much of an increase in the last, and it's gone up a little bit over the past week, but it's nowhere where it got, in mid-March. And obviously the market isn't as low, and it may seem a little bit disconnect from growth stocks, which are really struggling right now, but plenty of other stocks are not. So it doesn't have the feel. There isn't that fear or capitulation yet, but there's a lot of negative action. And yeah, even you were talking about growth stocks having a strong action since late March. Well, we had a strong action. A lot of beaten down names had big gains this morning, and then they gave them up or reversed lower. So I think people should be waiting for real clear signals before getting into some of those areas of the market.
That's right. Well, let's check in on some stocks in areas that are working, like oil and gas. So we have Shell here. This is in the integrated group. Tested a new high here today, or at least its highest level in quite a while, breaking out of a 56.23 buy point. So trying to get higher. It did come down a little bit off of its highs by session's end, but still a gain of about 1.2% for the day.
I mean, this has been acting very well. It is interesting how energy stocks will come off their highs if the general market is down, even if oil prices are soaring. Oil prices went up almost 7% today. Now, keep in mind, energy stocks have held up pretty well when oil prices have come down. So you can't expect them to always follow exactly the move. So, they've actually been very resilient. I mean, some of that they're hedged. They have other different things, like an integrated giant like Shell. They have natural gas. They have gasoline. So there's all sorts of things going on with this company. And that's the one actually a benefit is that it's not quite as volatile as a lot of energy names. It's acting well. You could probably buy it off of the, 21-day line, 50-day, 10-week line, not too extreme there, like start a position. You look at that RS line, that just keeps on soaring. The stock hasn't really gone anywhere for 2 or 3 weeks, but not going anywhere for 2 or 3 weeks is pretty good for the general market.
Yeah. Yeah, the weekly chart gives a great visual look at that with those tight closes over the last 3 weeks. Who knows? Maybe we could even get a 4 a fourth tight week, unless it does a breakout here. But with this group seeing such strong gains for 3.5 months now in 2022, a lot of stocks are either extended, or if they're flashing entries, they are add-on entries or perhaps more aggressive entries. But Shell here, like you're saying, it's not extended. It's about 4% above that 10-week line, and a lot of those really tight closes does make it seem compelling here.
Well, that's the idea. But there are a lot of great stocks, and I think we're going to look at another one. But there's a lot of investors should be looking at a lot of these stocks. And it's just like, hey, I know what this company, I'll buy this one. There's a lot of stocks, and look for really try to find the better names in this group.
Mm-hmm. Such a great point. Devon Energy, DVN, definitely has flexed its leadership muscles this year, providing actionable opportunities, in my view, off of that 50-day line or the 10-week line with those pullbacks. It seems like the best time to get into this stock would be on more of a pullback versus a breakout to new highs. But here, at least, it actually has paused for a little bit longer, right around that 60 level. And let's also take a look at the weekly chart here. So not a 3 weeks tight, but a number of weeks with relatively tight action. And it's about 6% above the 10-week line. But yeah, Ed, even though Devon is definitely a leader in this area, is it not too late to get in?
I mean, that's always the issue. It's like is it too late to get into commodities because you don't know when things are going to change? Obviously, things could happen with Russia. They could send the price of oil up to 150, or it could send it down to 75 pretty quickly. It just got over 100 again today. But yeah, I mean, it seems like you make a very good point on the pullbacks. I think with a lot of these commodity stocks, buying them off of the 21-day or the 50-day, 10-week line, it's done that a couple of times. So it's probably good for it to base now and try to do that. It wouldn't be bad if this one could. It sort of had a flattish area, almost a flat base. It's not there because of some radical action, but it sort of has this consolidation in that last several weeks. So you could sort of treat that as a buy signal. If it went sideways for a while, that wouldn't be the worst thing too. Let the 50-day and 21-day catch up a little bit more and get that sort of the combination of a pullback and a breakout. But I don't know if this stock is going to wait once it just goes sideways for a while. This one moves a lot. This was one of the best performers in the S&P 500 today, even with the pullback.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we'll have to see if it can break out and extend gains, or if it needs a little pause and pulls back again to that 50-day line, maybe even reverses off of that level. Let's see if it can do it for a fourth time, but only time will tell. And also, defense stocks have garnered attention in recent sessions after their big initial pop on the Russia-Ukraine war in late February. But now Raytheon pulling back and clearing an early entry, and now it's getting close to clearing a flat base entry as well.
Yeah, I got really close this morning. You could have argued when it was getting over that 102.97, getting above that area, that was getting above the bulk of trading. I mean, you can sort of see it was basically above everything but one little intraday spike. So, that was flashing an entry. And, the RS line is coming up to highs. And I think obviously we know how energy stocks have all done well, but almost all the defense stock, the major ones, seem to be doing this, sort of forming flat bases or consolidations just above sort of these prior longish consolidations, in reaction to the Russia war, Ukraine war. So that's just good. Your group movement is so important, especially in a divided market rally like this. This is one of the sides that's working right now.
Yes, it is. All right. Well, this is yet another name for the watch list here. So we'll have to see if this group can continue to make strides as well. Thank you so much, Ed, for all of your insights today, and for everyone for tuning in. Tomorrow morning on IBD Live, Mark Minervini joins the show. It's been a critical couple of weeks here, so it'll be great to see what he's focused on in the market, what's working, what's not. It's always great to get some wisdom from a market wizard, another market wizard, I suppose. We get David Ryan, but it'll be a treat to have Mark Minervini on the show.
I think having both, because David Ryan has been so focused on these long-term trends with commodities, and Mark Minervini does a different way of like shorter-term trades. And I think those are the kind of strategies that have been working. And it's not surprising to have these two market wizards figuring out the strategies that are working in this kind of market.
Yes, so don't miss it. Investors.com/IUBD Live to get all the details. We'll see you all there at 9:20 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning and right back here after the close.